Hello and welcome once more to Archangel Metatron's Messages of Love and Light from Australia in June 2017. My name is Susan Alexander, the YouTube channel of Susan Alexander, and my Facebook page is Angelic Vibrations. This past couple of weeks have been a very traumatic and tragic time for many people in the world, and I asked Metatron what he wanted me to address in particular. And initially he told me that I would know what to say, and of course, being human, I wanted to know more, and so I asked him to give me some kind of indication, and he said, just sit down and it will come. So with that in mind, I have prepared myself, but what I'd like to do is to use some of my Metatron sprays, my color sprays, so that we can get into the mindset where we can be open to hearing his words that will help us to traverse these dark days that we have had. So initially I'll use the white light, which just opens you to allowing all of your aura to be cleansed, to allow that beautiful white light to settle through your being and make sure that everything is you're as finely prepared as possible to allow any messages to come through. And of course, for myself, for connecting with Metatron, his flame spray, which is his spray, and we allow that beautiful flame, orange flame spray, to the scent of cloves to flow through you and to make that connection with Metatron stronger and more vibrant for all of us. It's perhaps no accident is the word that I was going to use, which is difficult to use at this time, but perhaps it is not so unusual that Metatron's spray, his colour, the vibrant orange, is also called flame. And as he's telling me, flame has always been the means of purification from time immemorial. In these days of darkness, when we are grieving for so much loss of life, when we are beginning to doubt and lose hope and lose faith in what is happening, we begin to question whether there is any light there, if these horrendous things can keep happening, if so many innocent people can be not only their lives taken but others' lives destroyed to such a traumatic extent that we ask, where is the light? Where is the hope? And Metatron is saying that it is the human condition to doubt. We have been given free will. Therefore, we will question when things happen. What he is asking of us is that we allow ourselves to be open to receiving the answers that will come through if we are open to receive. At the moment, what we are searching for most strongly is for the love and the peace. Not simply is perhaps not the right word, but not simply in the sense of being freed from the tragedies of events such as the bombings which have rocked the world recently, but also from our perceptions of the decisions that our leaders make, which will lead us either towards peace or towards an unpeaceful situation. The world appears at the moment, Metatron is giving me the vision of a bridge. We are currently standing on the bridge, and there are choices being made on each end of this bridge which can affect us. But we are not without our own strength, our own purpose. We need to have love and faith and hope. And if we have those, and we are willing to also, I'm again being showed another picture of almost like an acrobatic troupe, everyone balanced on top of everyone else, and they can only achieve this incredible feat of balance if they have perfect trust and faith in the person who is supporting them. And so too, he's saying, is we have to have faith and trust in those who are helping us to climb from the position we are in to a better place. So in these days of ascension, when we are upgrading our vibrations almost on a, not simply a daily basis, but almost a moment by moment basis, the stronger the vibration becomes within ourselves, within each individual person, the more light we emit, because our vibrational rate has increased, and so the light that we emit is stronger. The more light that we show out to the world, the more the darkness is highlighted, and we become the light in the dark. And in so doing, the darkness tries to overcome the light. But as Metatron has explained on more than one occasion, and the Dalai Lama has said, from one small candle, millions can be lit. From one small light, millions can also be spread, because that is the way that the light is able to overcome the darkness. It's not a matter simply of, he said, overcoming, but a matter of achieving balance. The light needs the dark as much as the dark needs the light, but there needs to be a balance. At the moment, because the powers who operate within the dark fear the light to such an extent, they are agitating to disrupt the light, and they believe that by trying to, or by performing the vicious acts that have been perpetrated recently, that they can cause a ripple effect which may extinguish the light. They can continue to do this, but what is happening is that more and more people are now drawing together. More and more people are talking about this, not ever condoning what is done, understanding what has been done, finding a way of bringing the peace and the light back into our own lives. And in so doing, we actually diminish the effects of the dark. So there are a few things, there are a lot of things in there really. What I'd like to do before I even pick a card, I have a couple of decks that I got ready earlier on, to help everyone, what I would like to do is to, first of all, spray a little of the Hope Spray. It's, I have to admit, this one, which Amanda has brought out, this beautiful Hope Spray, is one of my favourites at the moment. The scents are just so sensual. The benzoin in it is just absolutely rich and redolent of hope, of new hope. So we'll spray this and we will breathe deeply of the spray, breathing deep of the hope, breathing in to every part of us, down from our higher chakras, down through our head, the crown, the third eye, altar major and throat, down into our higher heart where we allow it to settle, and into our heart, all the way down through our solar plexus, sacral base, down into the earth star, letting the hope for mankind, for light, for the light in our world to grow, to continue to prosper, so we can continue our process of ascension with the earth, with peace. And now that I've mentioned peace and we've let that settle, I would like to spray another beautiful spray. It's the Sapphire Peace Spray. Beautiful. I'm drawn very much to colours. When I sat down this morning to get ready to do this, I chose a selection of the sprays to have close to hand, and as you can tell, I've got them all so far close at hand. But what I wanted to do was to be able to prepare myself as well. And what Metatron has said and is saying now is that once we have let the hope in to our hearts, to our minds, to our beings, let it suffuse all of our being, our aura, the energetic field that surrounds us, then we can bring in the beautiful air of peace. And if we do, we spray this beautiful cobalt blue spray, divine peace. Allow it to sink in again through all of your chakras. Let it percolate all the way through every cell, every membrane, easing away the tension, easing away the pain, allowing peace to flow in and settle, to fill up the holes that the darkness have tried to tear in your light. Let peace fill up every crevice of our being. And then we can radiate this peace out from our hearts, out to the world, to all of the world. Because we radiate peace out, we radiate energy out in every direction, not just to other people, but also to everything which surrounds us. So by extending the hope and the peace outwards, we are bringing that to everybody and everything, every bird, every bee, every insect, every rock, every stone, every blade of grass, the waters. Mother Gaia herself benefits from the more we can imbue ourselves with hope and peace and love, the more we can send out the hope and peace and love which is coming next, then we will be able to continue our growth and our process towards ascension. We will continue to create the world in which we wish to live. the spray that I've chosen to represent love for us today is it's actually the Inner Child Rose Spray. Now, the Divine Peace and the Rose Spray are frequently used together in healing work because it's often the woundings of the inner child which need to be brought out so that they can be healed and they need peace. But in this case, when I was thinking about it this morning when I was choosing my sprays, I first thought of the bombings, and particularly the Manchester bombing was the first one that came to mind, and the number of young innocents there who had lost their lives and those who had been hurt in more ways than one, not just the physical. The physical are often the easiest to heal. It's the psychological, the emotional scars that are not seen but are there, that are often harder to heal. And these can represent the inner child woundings that can take years and years before they are actually healed unless we do something positive about it. And I felt that the rose spray, because they work together, would be an ideal combination for us to use today to bring that feeling of love and healing for every young person who has been hurt, but for also every young person and every inner child within us. So we'll do that now, this beautiful rose spray. And it is genuine, beautiful rose garden that you're in. You cannot help but be uplifted in the middle of a rose garden with the beautiful scents that surround you at those times. They are comforting, they are bright, they are uplifting. And we need to focus again on those things rather than dwell on the darkness that has been visited upon so many of us. We need to focus on the light. And by so doing, we will help ourselves become stronger in overcoming what has happened. I'm just tuning in for another, see if Metatron has anything else he wishes me to say. He wants me to assure everyone that when I talk about inner child, that he's talking about every person who is alive on this planet today, irrespective of how old they are. That until the moment when we finally pass, we all have an inner child, always. And that inner child can help us to see the world with the eyes of a child, to see the wonder and splendor and awe which surrounds every child as they're growing. And that it is only when that spark of innocence in the inner child or in childhood, which is allowed to dim as we focus on the minutiae of becoming adults, that we often lose the spark of the joy and innocence that the child in us can see and can sense. So today, in June of 2017, I would ask you to focus on allowing that hope back into your life, into your heart, into your spirit, to allow the peace and the love to flow through, to help us, to strengthen us, to make our way through whatever life has brought or whatever life may bring, that there is always someone there who will be willing to listen, to hear, to, as Metatron does, to hold out a hand to help us in the darkest of times. What I thought I would do, or what I was guided to do, was to, first of all, I'm not sure how many cards I need to draw, but I'm using the Life Navigator deck by Jane Delaford Taylor and Manoj Jayan. I hope I said that correctly. To see if I can get a message for you on not just your individual life purpose, but individually and collectively, what we need to be thinking of, when we need to place our focus, is what Metatron is saying. Okay, to start off with, we have one here, and I will shuffle again. Oops, there's another one that's come. Wants to fall out. Do I need a third one? Yes. Okay. Another one has jumped out, and they all go beautifully together, but I will run through them in the order that they came up in for you. First of all, we have stillness, we have ignite your light, and we have stay curious. Now, they each have a message, and today, yes, stillness, it's make peace for calm and quiet in your day. Turn off your phone, allow the world to rush on past unnoticed for a while, and dip your soul into peaceful waters. And the image just is, you can actually just simply look at the image and allow yourself to be floated away on a lily pad in stillness. Stillness in our daily life is something that is very hard to find. You need to find those infrequent moments when you can be still, when you can allow yourself to open your mind to the vastness of silence. The silence of the mind, the stillness of the mind, the voice of silence. The other one that fell out, and it's Metatron's laughing here, ignite your life. All the beautiful colours, Metatron's colours in that image is particularly potent. And without even reading it, it speaks to itself. Light your life. Ignite your life. With confidence and loving mindfulness, you create amazing changes for yourself and all those around you. You need to allow the light to shine. You need to ignite that light in yourself. If you allow your light to be put out or turned down, how can you hope to see in the dark? If you do not ignite the light in yourself, in your own heart and mind and soul, how can you hope to see the light and the beautiful colours that surround you? How could you help to see? How would you be able to see the beautiful sunrise or sunset? How would you be able to see the beautiful colours of the rainbow and the light which surround everything? And even more so, how can you hope to hold the light in your own self, in your own hands? That message is particularly, is really, well, I just find that an absolutely amazing message to place. And the final one was stay curious. You have to excuse me, I cannot read back to front yet. Stay curious. When new interest, topics or places draw you, go explore them. Your natural curiosity is about a subject may signal that it is the right time to expand your mind and your life. And I love the beautiful I'd like to think of her as a little fairy, but I love the beautiful spirit orbs up here. And curiosity is often something that is closely associated with childhood and children. It's something we often are accused of losing as we grow older, and we become more firmly entrenched in finding our role and our place in life, on what we are meant to be doing, our occupations, careers. We stop being curious about the simpler things. As the little girl there is peering around the tree. Metatron is saying hide and seek, hide and seek. It's a game all children play. It's just one of those things that I grew up with. Most children grow up with it. My own did also. But also, if you look up here, you can see the little boy or girl looking through a magnifying glass towards the dandelion flower. But it also brings to mind the fact that this is something that I did as a child. I was always found out in the fields, lying down, peering at the ground to see what was around, to see what the smaller things in life had to show me. One of my favourite authors when I was growing up was Gerald Durrell, and he wrote a wonderful book called My Family and Other Animals. And I would highly recommend it to everyone. It made me laugh about the hilarity of the situations that could happen, because one person was so curious, sat amongst people who were being so grown up and proper. And it appealed to me. It is a marvelous, a wonderful book, and this really just epitomizes it. What always is, it's always a pleasure for me when I make these videos or when I do a reading, is that the message that I have asked to bring forth for you, anyone who's watching, and for anyone who hears this, is always, or is also a message for myself as well. Now, I had, because I don't wish to dwell too much on everything, I thought we would go to something completely different, and I'm going to draw a card from the Sacred Rebels deck, which is by Alana Fairchild. I think that's correct, so forgive me if I'm wrong. If anyone watches and I have made a mistake, I'm sure you can tell me. We will have a couple of cards from this one. I love the sound. Sacred Rebels appeals to our own inward and outward sacredness. There is nothing wrong with being said to be sacred. Our bodies are sacred. Our lives are sacred. Being sacred is not a bad thing. It only becomes bad in the wrong hands, I'm being told. So we will have 3 from the top. We will have a look at what Metatron is just to say. And I'm not going to read the book, I am just going to read from the card. The first one to come up is number 17, and it says, "What is already within you?" And it shows a pair of hands with beautiful butterflies coming out. You have the image of a darkened wood, or darkened forest, and a light, perhaps a glade, shining, opening at the back in the background. But what appeals to me is that the light that is emanating from the palms of the hands, and the butterflies are flowing up. And butterflies to me always feel as though they belong in the land of magic almost, because they start off life as one thing that's not very pretty, and through their growth cycle they metamorphose into a beautiful butterfly, and they bring so much beauty and joy to the world. But we have to what I'm getting from this is that we need to release what is inside us. What we have the answers to everything inside us already. And if you notice, right, that we can focus on it right in the middle in here, we have the Metatron's cube. And I don't know whether it'll pick up the detail, but we also have the flower of life. So we have a sacred geometry. We have the building blocks of life. We have Metatron's cube. We have the light in the darkness. And we have the magic of the butterflies, all within this one card, this one message for us. And I think it is absolutely that's brilliant. The second one that I got, which was, I didn't get it. The second one that was given to us is number 10, and it's called Releasing Allegiances. And it's a challenging image if you look at it. We have an image of a beautiful nude woman, but she's all curled up. She is almost in a fetal position. And what I'm getting is that she has been tortured and twisted into this shape by trying to conform to the strictures and mores that are currently in place. And she has started to unfold. She is starting to release herself and unfold, because she has started to release allegiances that do not serve her highest purpose. Because if you look at her face is no longer tortured, her face is at rest. She has found the strength to release herself from those bonds and is able to start unfolding, the unfoldment of self. The third one that came out was number 38, and it's Restore and Replenish, which goes very well with the releasing your allegiances. But again, we have another nude figure in the fetal position in the center of a fairy ring. And we have shells around her. We have all the elements of life around her. And you get the feeling that she's not so much hiding or in pain or has been placed there by somebody else. She has chosen to go there. She has chosen to reconnect with the earth, with the planet, with her life, in order to be able to move forward. And the outer circle out here, it's almost like a sacred, it is a sacred circle. That's what I'm being told. It is a sacred circle. She is inside a sacred circle, inside a sacred circle, inside a sacred circle. Wheels within wheels. And she has chosen to go there to rejuvenate, to relax. So if we look at all of them together, we have the what is already within you, followed by the releasing allegiances and restore and replenish. But each one, to me, follows on one from the other, because you have to go through a period of allowing your light to be ignited in order to find the strength to release your allegiances, to finding yourself in a place where you can go and replenish and restore, revitalize the inner you. You need to have the time to allow the truth of who you are to be able to come through. And we can't do that if we continually remain in the hustle and bustle of the daily life. We can only do that if we take time out, just 5 minutes a day for ourselves, if that's all we can find, but to try and make it longer, to try and be in the fresh air, to try and to look with wonder, with childlike eyes, and see the wonders that are around us, to see the magic which is part of our world, to take it inside ourselves, to replenish and restore ourselves and make ourselves stronger and able to go on when we feel that the going is too tough. I don't know whether there is anything else. He's actually asking me to look at the bottom card on the deck of the Sacred Rebels. He said to take. And he confused me for a while because this is the beautiful back of the cards, and this was the card that was on the bottom. So for a moment I was confused. But it's number 7. It's called Legacy of Light. And you have the inner child, the youth, and the grown person. Legacy of light. We bring the light. As a child, we have access more easily to the unseen world of spirit. As an adult, as we grow, if we allow the light to remain, we have the access to the spirit. We have access to our divine wisdom, and our divine wisdom can come through us. It can flow down the line. It also, I'm hearing Metatron tell me that it also can be, this is an intergenerational message, that what we have today, what we had today is from the past, and what we have today in our development has been developed from the past. So it goes both ways. So what he's saying is, like the tree of life, which I'm currently studying, you can move both ways up and down the tree of life, like the tree of life, so we can, with our growth, go from one to the other at any time. And spirit is always there, and they are the hands of spirit that are holding, sheltering, caring, protecting at all times, even though we may not feel it. And the other message I'm getting is that we are not to forget that there are those of us who will have come from the stars, and to the stars we will return, and we will bring down the messages from the stars for everyone to hear and understand also. So I think that's probably enough for today. To close off today, for everyone, I'd like to use the Spiritual Protection Spray. It is a nice spray to use before you go out anywhere. If you're going to see someone that you know rubs you up the wrong way, it's a great spray to use. But also at the moment, because we feel that we've been assaulted with the events that have happened around the world, it is a great spray to use to protect ourselves from allowing the darkness a foothold. So we will spray it and allow the essences to float all around us, and visualize that it is floating all around your aura. It is sealing any cracks or tears or damage that has been done that may have been caused by the events of the last few days, few weeks, few months, few years, I'm being told. And I was just directed to grab a card here. This is from Diana Cooper's Angels of the Light series, and the card that came out is Archangel Raphael. Raphael, who is known as the Angel of Healing. And he says the final message is, you are blessed to attract this angel card, for Archangel Raphael brings health, healing, and abundance. He will help you to develop your intuition and inner visions. Call on him if you need help in these areas now. He also protects travelers during journeys, so this is a fortuitous card if you're about to travel. If you are a healer and you wish to be one, Archangel Raphael will direct pure divine energy to you. He works on the green ray of healing and balance, so visualize yourself surrounded by clear green light and invoke his guidance. And an affirmation to leave you with: I am happy, healthy, and abundant. In these dark days, when what we want most of all is to find some way of finding protection, a spiritual protection, our belief in the angels, our willingness to embrace our light and continue to shine despite whatever happens, would be the way through. So I wish everybody many blessings, much love, and I look forward to seeing you again. Namaste.